Okay, today we would like to speak about how does one overcome his Yetzer Hara. A lot of times, the Yetzer Hara comes on a person and he tries to defeat him. It could be waking up in the morning. It could be from stopping from cursing. It could be from getting angry. Every time the Yetzer Hara entices us to sin. The question today, what we want to see is how is one able to overcome that? It's not easy, but how is one able to overcome that? A lot of times people say, Rabbi, I can't. It's hard. It's not for me. But the real problem is we have to understand who are we dealing with. We're speaking about an angel, meaning the Malach HaMav, the Yetzer Hara himself, the angel of death. You're battling against him. So you want it to be easy? Of course it's not going to be easy. It's supposed to be hard. What's the whole point of this world? It's dafka hard in order for us to get much, much more reward. So Masechet Berachot, they actually bring 4 ways how one can try to outdo his Yetzer Hara. So he says in Masechet Berachot in Daf Hey Amud Aleph, it says, Amar Rabbi Levi Bar Chama, Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, La'olam yargis Adam Yetzer Hatov al Yetzer Hara. A person should always agitate, he should always awaken his Yetzer Hara, his Yetzer Hatov, the good inclination, against the bad inclination. What does Rashi say about that? Listen what Rashi says. Not you should awaken the Yetzer Hara, the good Yetzer, not that you should awaken the Yetzer Tov against the Yetzer Hara, just I'm awakened. No, not just awaken like that. Rashi says, Yargiz Yetzer Hara sheyaseh milchama im Yetzer Tov, im Yetzer Hara. A person should go and he should wage war with the evil inclination. You should awaken your good inclination to such an extent that it's going to go out and wage war with the bad inclination. So sometimes you wonder why I can't do it. Why you can't do it? Because we're not even trying. You think we're trying, but we're not trying. Because he says you have to literally wage war. You have to awaken your Yetzer Tov against your Yetzer Hara to be able to wage war with him, and only then can you win. Otherwise, it's almost impossible. The Gemara continues to say, the Gemara says like this. The Gemara says, Lo olam yargis Adam. Rabotai, we have to understand. The Mefarshim bring down, what means always? What does it mean always you have to go ahead and awaken the good inclination against the bad inclination? What does that mean? So they have over here in the Mefarshim, he says over like this. The Imri Noam says like this. Tevet la'olam balalam deinu. The word la'olam always comes to teach us she'en milchamat ha'yetzer kishar milchamot im basar v'dam. When you're battling with the Yetzer Hara, it's not like any other battle when you go and you fight against a person, meaning against people. שבהן הדרך היא שאחד שנכנע אחד הצדדים שוב אין נלחם עוד. When you have a battle amongst 2 people, amongst 2 countries, whichever one wins becomes the champion. Whichever one wins, it's on top, the other one loses, finish. You go home, you're happy. Aval Rabotai, listen to this. Aval milchemet ha'yetzer, but whenever it comes to the war, to the battle with the Yetzer Hara, Einaken, that's not the case. You guys ready? Even if you won him and you subdued him, you were able to in this time. Rabotai. Nevertheless, the Yetzer Hara is not going to give up. He's going to come back and he's going to fight with you again. Yeah, you won him this morning. He'll come back tomorrow morning again. You won him today from speaking Lashon Hara. He'll come back in another 10 minutes. He never gives up. The Yetzer Hara never gives up. He always does battle. There's no such a thing that he's going to leave you alone. No such thing. He constantly does battle with you. That's why we always have to go ahead and arouse our Yetzer Hatov against the Yetzer Hara. Why? Because he's never going to leave us alone. Just like he doesn't want to leave us alone, we can't leave him alone also. It's a real battle. We don't have this. We think it's normal. I'm lazy. I'm tired. I ate too much. I worked hard. No, Rabotai. It's the Yetzer Hara. He has so much control. He's already in this world almost 6,000 years, 5,000 something years. We're only here, 40 years, 50, 60 years? Who 80 years? Rabotai, who are we comparing? We're comparing to something that's fire, and we're only flesh and blood. How do you want to overwin him? Just coming to listen to 5-10 minutes of shul, you think you're going to win? A person has to be able to mamish, put a battle, a real battle. You have to have guns, ammunition, which is our Torah. That's what a person has to do. The Gemara continues, but the Gemara says like this. But the Gemara says, what happens if a person, he tried to do battle, it didn't work. He wants to do Avera Chas v'Shalom, let's say with a woman. He tried to battle all the... It overcame him. He wants to go and do the Avera. What's the next step he should do? He says over here, the Gemara says, right? Im nitzcha mutaf. If you were able to defeat him with this battle method, good. V'im lav rabotai. If not, yasok b'Torah. If you see that the Yetzer still has strength over you, start learning Torah, jumping into the Torah, delving into the Torah. Not, no, you got to put your whole being into the Torah. Only that is going to save you. Rabotai, he says over here, Shenemar imru bilavavechem. Like the pasuk says, you should say it in your heart. Over here in the commentary, he says over here, what means bilavavechem? Rabotai, listen carefully. לומר לך שאין די למלחמת היצר במה שלמד תורה מן השפה ולחוץ. רבותיי, it's not enough to battle the Yetzer just learning outside the Torah by lipping it. Outside. ממתי קוראים שמע בערבין, משעה שהכהנים נכנסים לכל בתרומתן. What is this? A newspaper? This Daily Post, New York Post? Chas v'Shalom, this is Torah. ממתי קוראים שמע... A person has to put his whole being. 248 limbs, 365 gidim. He has to put his whole being into the Torah. Not just to come and stam, sushi, pizza, one leg and another, and then he sits and he thinks he's going to be able... No, that's not asok b'Torah. That's learning Torah. But that's not oisik b'Torah. Ela, what means yasok b'Torah? Rabotai, listen to this. Yasok b'Torah ad sheyeh libo maleh b'divrei Torah. What means bilvavchem? What means in your hearts? Rabotai, he says that it should be in your heart. Your heart should be full of Torah. You should be able to learn to such extent Torah that your heart is going to be full of Torah. Then you're not going to have time to think about the sin. You're not going to have time because your whole being, your whole existence is only to do what? Is in the Torah, is in learning the Torah, understanding the Torah, to make it part of you, not just to chas v'shalom learn it. The Gemara continues and it says like this, Rabotai, we have a problem over here. He says over here, Im nitzcha mutav. If you were able to oisik b'Torah and you want the Yetzer, good. But the next step is, what happens if being oisik b'Torah doesn't help you? Doesn't help you. The Yetzer is still strong, it's very powerful. V'im lav, if not, it didn't help you. He says, Yikra Kriyat Shema. Recite the Kriyat Shema. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, right? V'ahavta et Hashem Elokech b'chol. So a lot of Mefarshim, they try to go in. How does this help you? This shouldn't help you at all. How can Shema help you more than the Torah? So over here, the Yefat To'ar, he explains, he says, She'inen Kriyat Shema hu she'adam bo'al yidol lehavat Hashem. Why do we say Shema? Because we want to come to love Hashem. When you're going to come to think about HaKadosh Baruch Hu and how great He is, His greatness, because of this, the fact that you're going to come and you're going to say, that yeah, I love you, Hashem, our God, with all your heart, with all your soul, are you really giving everything right now when you're battling against the Yetzer? Is it there? If it's really there, you'll be able to succeed. You have to really put bechol. Everything has to be with all. There's a round Rabbeinu Nisim says, when it comes to learning the Torah, chayav adam lelmod the Torah kifi kocho. A person is obligated to learn Torah according to his strength. How much a person has strength, he has to be able to put everything inside it. And not just to come and just chas v'shalom read it like a history book lo leinu. The Gemara continues and give us one more Yetzer, Rabotai. If that doesn't help you, look to the next concept. Look to the next Yetzer. He says, if you were able to win him by saying Shema with all your kavanah, understand that you want to love Hashem. How can I sin against Hashem? I want to be close to you. I don't want to sin against you, Hashem. If you were able to do it and you won, good. But if not, what do you do, Rabotai? Look what he says. V'im lav yiskor lo yom hamita. Shenemar v'du musela. He says, remind the Yetzer Hara the day of death. What does the Yetzer Hara care for the day of death? You ready? So they explain, the Mefarshim say, sheyaskir lo, you should remind the Yetzer Hara, shechol etzat yitzro hara, all the bad advice that the Yetzer Hara gives us, hil alul lo ra'a ul hamito. Everything that the Yetzer Hara advises you, Rabotai, that's only to your detrimental and only to kill you. That's all his point is. That's what his job is in this world. What do you think? He think he came to play games with it? Nah, he came on a business trip. He came to fulfill his mission. That's what he says. That's what he says over here. Remind you the day of death that what? Because what's going to end up happening when a person, if he listens to the Yetzer Hara and he gives in and he sins, if Chas v'Shalom this person goes without doing teshuvah, v'dam Mussar, he'll always be silent for the rest of his life, meaning he'll be in the grave. That's why a person has all these four ways how he's going to be able to win the Yetzer Hara. In Masechet Kiddushin Daf Lamed Amud Bet, it says, V'amar Rabbi Shimon ben Levi, Yitzro shel Adam mitgaber alav b'chol yom. Rabotai, you have to understand, the Yetzer Hara, like we said, it's a fire, it's Eish. Every single day it strengthens upon you. Every single day. Don't think one day he's no. He mamish every single day he strengthens on you. Look what does he want? What does he want from you? Umuvakesh la'amito. He wants to kill you. He seeks out to kill you. He's not playing games. He mamish seeks out to kill you. That's what you said before. You have to wage war. V'il maleh hakadosh baruch hu ozer en yacholo. If Hashem wouldn't help you, there was no way you were going to be able to defeat the Yetzer Hara. It's impossible. We need HaKadosh Baruch Hu's help. I want to tell you guys a very small story. The Gaon of Vilna, when he was learning Torah, I heard the story, I believe, one of the Gedolim said the story about the Gaon of Vilna, I believe it was. The Gaon of Vilna, one student said, I wish I had the Yetzer Hara of the Gaon of Vilna. I wish. All he did was learn Torah. He slept 2-3 hours a day, and the rest of the day he used to give it to Torah. So somebody said, I wish I had his Yetzer Hara. So the Gaon of Vilna overheard that. He looked at him and he said, if you had my Yetzer Hara, you would die in one spot, in 1 second. You think my Yetzer Hara is small? Chazal tell us, Kol hagadol mechavero. Anybody who's greater than his friend, Yitzro gadol hemeno. The Yetzer Hara is even greater than him, meaning it always grows with you. Rabotai, it's like lifting weights. So therefore a person has to know, Rabotai, a person has to be able to put his whole being into learning Torah. If number one, let's go like this. Number one, you have to wage war. Don't think it's supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. That's the secret. Don't say, Rabbi, I can't. It's hard. I'm going to sin. Rabotai, don't make excuses. Do not make excuses. Try it. Don't start. Yeah, try it. Try it. Milchama. You wage war. You arouse the Yetzer Tov against the Yetzer Hara. That doesn't work. Learn Torah with all your strength. That doesn't work. Say Shema. That doesn't work. Remember the day of death that you're going to be silent all your life, and the cheshbon and the accounting one is going to have to give before Kadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.